Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So today I'm here with my full review of the Alcatel 3V. Now this is the big gigantic 6.7-inch screen device that's available with Metro by T-Mobile. It is an upgraded model over a previous one. This is a 2019 edition. Newer processor, newer specs. They've got lots of cool things going for it. It's 189 bucks. Now before I get any further, I do want to say that this video is not sponsored. This was sent out by Alcatel as a review unit. I'm not being compensated for this or not getting to see this before you are. Now, another thing about the channel, if you like this video, then please feel free to hit the like and the subscribe button. And if you want to get notifications for the latest and greatest, hit that little notification bell so you can find out when I release new videos. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the Alcatel 3V. All right, here we are up close and personal with the Alcatel 3V. So it comes in this gray color. You can see here the 16 megapixel camera with the 5 megapixel sensor it also has on it for the portrait shots. The fingerprint sensor is right there on the back, and you can see it's got this almost fingerprint-like texture underneath the plastic surface. It looks really cool. It also, you can see the fingerprint sensor does work really well. It's nice and responsive. Now, if the phone gets laggy, the fingerprint sensor can get a little laggy too, but usually it works perfectly fine. And then it also has facial unlocking technology, so it'll scan your face. You can see there, I'm off to the side so you can't see my face, but it does unlock fairly well. It's just as reliable as the fingerprint sensor, I would say. So works nice, easy to use, and you have multiple modes for accessing your phone with the biometrics. Now, taking a look at it, it's got this bright and big 6.7-inch LCD screen. It does have bezels on the top and the bottom, but I think it looks pretty nice. It borders in the screen really well. It's got all touch buttons, and then you can see, like I said, there the black on the top and the bottom, and then you've got the selfie camera up top as well, which is great for taking some selfies if you want to do that. You've got the volume rocker and the power button on the right hand side, so very easy to get to them. It does have a 2 gigahertz processor in it. Now on the back, you can see here it's very prone to getting fingerprints and smudges on it. So I went ahead and I wanted to illustrate. You can get a little cleaning cloth or a lens wipe and clean it off. But if you handle this without a case, you're going to see that it is very quick and easy to pick fingerprints back up on it. But like I said, they wipe off pretty easy. It's got 32 gigabytes of internal storage. You can expand that with a micro SD card. It's got the headphone jack on top, and then you've got a USB-C connector and the speaker down on the bottom. So pretty much everything that you need for your day-to-day activities. It works well. And then it also has Android 9.0 with the Google feed and all that cool stuff built into it as well. Now, getting into the menu, you can adjust the brightness in here. You can turn on the adaptive brightness if that's something that you like. This will help save battery and extend your phone by automatically adjusting the brightness on your screen based off of the ambient light that's around. You also have the night light, which is a blue filter. You can see it will change it, and it will make it less white and less blue looking. So that helps your eyes, especially at nighttime. You can schedule it, and you can turn it on manually. Then you have this neat little thing called one-handed mode that makes the screen smaller, or the display size smaller, so you can use it with one hand. So actually, it would help out a lot if I actually enable the mode. So let's go ahead and enable it. There we go. So one-handed mode is enabled. You double tap on the menu button there, or the home button, and then it makes the screen smaller, and you can access it that way. And it works perfectly fine. It's a nice little thing if you don't want to be using the entire screen, or it's too big for you to use one-handed. Now, I did want to show off some of the gameplay. This is Boom Beach. This game is fairly old now. I've been playing it for over 5 years. I illustrate this in a lot of different phones. I did want to show off the performance. Now, it works perfectly fine. It does slow down a little bit when you have a lot of stuff going on. So I'm going to fire a whole bunch of these missile barrages and load the troops. And you'll be able to notice if you pay attention, it does kind of get a little choppy. Not too much. I mean, it's still playable. It's still perfectly fine. But you can see there, it's not the smoothest or the fastest in the world. And that's kind of laying the groundwork for talking about the gaming on this. So this is not really a gaming phone. It's okay if you want to play games on it, but you're going to be very limited. So you're not going to be able to play PUBG. You're not going to be able to play Fortnite. It's not a Fortnite supported phone anyway. But if you want to keep it simple and keep it stuff like Alto's Odyssey or Boom Beach or some other things that are not too crazy, then you should be fine. Now, I also wanted to illustrate Mario Kart. Mario Kart is a very popular game right now, and you can see here it works okay. There is a little bit of lag in it. It doesn't run as fast as I would like for it to, but if you don't really care that much about having it run super fast, then you'll be able to get away with playing it, and it will probably be just as enjoyable for you. But definitely do not get this phone if you want to use it primarily for gaming. It's good for social media, it's good for the internet, it's good for casual use. Of course, it's good for sending text messages, phone calls. Basically, it's good for everything other than gaming. So I wanted to go ahead and illustrate that, but you can see here, and it is playable. So if you want to get it to play Mario Kart, then you can certainly do that. Now, I did want to go ahead and show off some of the multitasking and Android 9.0. You can see here with Android Pie, it's got the vertical menu stack where you can go ahead, or the horizontal menu stack, you can just hit the little menu button and you can close them simply by swiping. And I wanted to show off the keyboard. So here we are. This is a typing demonstration. You can see that I type pretty fast on here. It's very stock Android. There's not a whole lot on here bloatware wise or clouding up the interface. So it's very much a stock Android experience. The keyboard is built in Gboard straight out of the box, and it works. It works perfectly good. Now, another thing with the typing experience is the haptic feedback. Since the entire phone is plastic, the vibration motor is pretty strong, but it's not very precise. So you kind of feel the vibration throughout the screen. But otherwise, the typing experience is good, and you can see that you can type pretty fast on it, and you don't even require a lot of practice. Now, I do want to show you this. There are some programmed built-in Metro by T-Mobile bloatware. They have the feature on here though where you can unlock it. Now, I think you have to be a Metro by T-Mobile customer for like 4 consecutive months, and the phone has to be paid off so you can unlock it. But once you meet the criteria, you can go there and unlock it. Since this was sent out to me as a review unit, it's locked, and I'm not going to keep service for 4 months to unlock it or whatever it is. But there's the built-in Metro apps, and you can't delete them. So it's kind of annoying, but at the same time, it's not something that really interferes with the performance of the phone. So it's not the end of the world, I don't think. All right, so here we are with some camera samples. Now, it does really good out in natural lighting. It's very accurate with color tone, I think, but you do lose out on the contrast and the sharpness, and it's just really not, the edge detection is not all that great, so it does look a little blown out, but the portrait mode right there, you can see with the flowers, it did a great job with the bokeh effect in the background. It's just not the most crisp or clear image in the world. Now, here's a picture I took of my truck, and like I said, I think that the colors are pretty decent. They are a little dull in some areas, but other than that, for a $189 phone, I think it's very capable. It's just not great with edge detection, and the sharpness of the images is just not all that fantastic. But as far as taking pictures, it's got a very simple and easy to use interface. Snap pictures, and it, like I said, it's good with the colors, and it does look pretty natural, especially for skin tones and things like that. Here's a illustration of the selfie camera. The only problem here is that, of course, it's a picture of my face. But other than that, I think that it handles the lighting fairly well, and it's also pretty good with the skin tones and the natural colors. So yeah, that's it. As far as the camera goes, I think it's pretty decent, especially for the price point and everything else that's in the phone for $189. But video and camera stuff, it's about what you would expect from a $189 phone. The biggest thing that you get, the biggest selling point is just a gigantic screen. So if you want to use Instagram, if you want to use Pinterest, if you want to use Twitter, absolutely perfect for all of those things, and it's only 189 bucks, which is really good. So if you want to switch over to T-Mobile and you want to have a phone that's really large like this one, and you don't want to pay the expensive prices to get like a Note or something like that, this is a really good alternative, especially at the price point. Plus, you're running Android 9.0, and since I've had this for the last 3 or 4 weeks, it's gotten a security and software update. So it seems like they're trying to stay reasonably on top of it. It's not as good as you're going to get with Google or with Apple, but for Alcatel, I'd say it's pretty decent. So I went and spent $40 to get the Metro PCS plan so I can actually test this out properly. It does have good signal strength. It does have very similar download and upload speeds to T-Mobile. Tested it side by side with my Pixel, almost identical. Of course, the Pixel does have a newer modem, so that's what I kind of account for that increase in performance. Not so much that you're being throttled or the network had congestion. It's just a better antenna, and it's 2 years newer. So yeah, network speeds are good, downloads are good, performance is good, phone calls are good, you can hear well, the handset speaker is nice. So overall performance of this, it's a solid performing phone that gives you everything you need in a smartphone at a budget price that won't break the bank. But of course, you're going to be missing out on some things like high-end performance. Now, you may be asking yourself, do I need something that's high-end performance? You probably don't. If you want something that's going to last all day, that's going to allow you to use your social media, browse the internet, and all that good stuff, this is a really good option. And it's a great alternative to more similarly sized devices, but that are much more expensive. Now, the downside you're going to get in performance come when if you have a whole bunch of apps open, it only has 3 GB of RAM. So it can get full on RAM fairly quickly. The RAM can get full fairly quickly. So if you load a bunch of apps and then leave them there and don't ever close them, then it's going to slow down the performance. So if you notice that it's getting a little sluggish, go ahead and close the apps out. If you haven't used it in a while, you're going to sit there for a while. Like if you haven't used it for half the day, you haven't used it all day long, and you've got a bunch of apps that have notifications enabled, you're going to get a lot of stuff that's going to pop up for a few minutes when you finally go back and use it, that you're going to have to wait for it to clear out. Other than that, though, it works perfectly fine, and it was very enjoyable for me to use. And I normally use a Pixel 4 XL, or I normally use my iPhone. So the contrast between those devices is big, of course, because you're talking huge flagship top of the line device versus $189 device. But this $189 device was good enough that I could use it. I really didn't feel like I was missing out on a whole lot other than some gaming action, and it lasts all day long, and it has really solid performance. So that's all I've got on my review of the Alcatel 3V. It's a solid device for $189. And if you're looking for something like this, especially with the Metro by T-Mobile market, then I think you're going to be happy with it, especially for the amount of money that you pay. So that's all I've got. If you got any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section. I'll get back with you. As always, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.